Here's a picture of me when I was a teenager. So I was very, very overweight. Like, this is when I was like between 14 and 15, something around there. And I used to weigh around 95 to like 102 kilos. There's a lot to go into about weight in general, but I figure I just want to share my story of it and my viewpoint on how it was to be fat and where I'm at right now. So let's get into it. When I was young, I used to be very active, but then when I turned around 10, 11, something around there, I moved away from. We used to live with my grandparents. We moved away, and it was basically just me and my mom. And my mom started taking her job very seriously, and she started drinking, and she didn't have that much time for me. And one thing led to another, and she basically just kept buying like snacks and tasty food and stuff like that. And I was very sheltered, so I was still basically a kid. I didn't understand that eating a lot would make me overweight. And so I didn't comprehend the consequences of eating a lot. Like, I was very stupid, again, sheltered. And yeah, I wasn't really told the dangers, if one could say it that way. And so I'd still say it was still my fault, but I was too dumb to know any better. But neither way, I ate and ate. And by the time I was like 13, 14, I was pretty chungus. I was very big chungus. And I never really thought about it. I never really thought about my weight. And I was just thinking I am who I am. I basically never watched myself in the mirror. I never really worried that much. I didn't feel the weight affecting me because I was young. The younger you are, the easier you deal with things. And I was healthy as a kid. As a young kid slash teenager, I was pretty healthy. And I didn't have the issues I have today. Neither way, I was very chunk, and when I was like 15, that's when I got rejected the first time, and that spiraled me into a depression. I was pretty late when it comes to having crushes and stuff like that in school. So the first time I ever had like a real crush, I was like 15. And when that happened, it was the first time I got rejected, and it was based off basically that I wasn't good looking enough for that person. And that spiraled me into a very big depression, and I basically stopped eating. And I remember one day I looked in the mirror and I was like, wait a minute, I look way different now than I did a few months ago, because I stopped eating, I lost weight. I was like, oh, this was like a positive thing. So I started working out and eating healthy, and every single day it was only hamburgers, and like not hamburgers like unhealthy, but hamburger meat and broccoli. And that was the only thing I ate every single day. And when I boiled my broccoli, I used to take the broccoli water, because when you boil vegetables, they lose a lot of the nutrients and it ends up in the boiled water. So I used to take a sip of like the boiled water from the broccoli with like the meat. And yeah, I ate that meal every single day for like, what was it, a whole year, I think. I had basically my gym arc where I stopped gaming, I stopped doing all the bad stuff. All I did was eat healthy, meditate, and work on myself and trying to become the best version of me. And it worked. It worked very great. By the time I was like 16, early 16, late 16, somewhere around there, I had lost all the weight. I was very strong. I was fit. I could run. I used to be able to run to the store and stuff. And I was doing good. And that's during that time, that's when people know me from the Being Ugly My Experience video. That's from that time I did the dating stuff that I talk about. And yeah, so basically being overweight and losing all the weight and becoming the best version of me basically didn't do anything. It didn't help me that much. And I was dating for half a year to a year, roughly, after getting in shape. And not until I was like 17 is when I met my oldest ex, and everyone knows that story. But yeah, I used to be very overweight. I used to be a chunkiest boy, and I lost the weight. But I'm getting to the point now. I've had it in my entire life where I'm in good shape, and then I kind of lose the shape, and then I get back into shape somewhat. But I can never get back to the best version of myself, and that's due to my health issues and all that started coming up. And you know, the most important thing when it comes to losing weight is eating properly and exercising. And eating properly, I used to be able to do well, but the exercising is tough when you have breathing problems. And it's like, if you have difficulties breathing, if you have heart palpitations and all that, if you don't get enough oxygen, then you shouldn't be working out. Like, you shouldn't be pushing yourself too much. But I used to do that anyway. I used to always go to my limit, but now it's at the point where even when I do everything I can, I don't get anywhere near the results I wish for. Anyway, why do I make this video now? Because I'm starting to become chunk again, and I used to always walk around with the picture in my wallet of the chunky me to remind myself of don't eat too much, you know, remember how it was like, don't do this. But now it's like I can't really do much about it. I'm trying my best, but it's not going that well, and it frustrates me. And yeah, the thing with me and food also is I'm good at keeping a diet, but if there's like, I can eat healthy and well for a whole year or more even, but the moment there is something unhealthy around, I tend to just eat it. Like if someone presents me a cake, I will eat the cake. Like I can live healthy for a month and I can discipline myself not to buy things. But if something is bought, if it is home, if it's accessible, I automatically eat it. And it's not even something I really think about, it's just something I do. And that is just, that's just, you know, something I need to get better at. But it's so difficult right now, especially with my wife's pregnancy cravings and all that. It's just so very difficult, and it bothers me so much. But I'm still trying. I'm doing currently I'm able to do 6 pull-ups, and I can do 5 push-ups. So I do pull-ups and I do push-ups, and I usually take around 40 to 60 minutes of a walk every day, and it's like a fast walk without breaks outside. Or I do very, very fast treadmill for like 40 to 50 minutes. So I try to do something every day. There are days where I don't do it. It depends on my health. But I'm still trying, but it bothers me a lot that, you know, I feel so very limited, and it's annoying. But I know what it's like to be overweight, and people usually look at people who are overweight and they judge them a lot. Like, a lot of people get judged. I was very lucky to, when I was overweight, not many people made fun of me. Basically, no one ever did. So I was very lucky not being bullied over my weight. But I know people do get bullied over it. And the thing is, some people, it's not always their fault. You know, there's a lot of things that can make people overweight. One thing could be genetics. Some people have it they gain weight more easily than others. And that's why you can sometimes see someone who's very overweight. They sit at like the food table and they eat basically nothing. And they never eat that much, but they still gain weight. And it's also the reverse. There's people who eat a ton and they never gain weight. So it's genetic, as well. And then you have I would say that there are some cases where mentally it's not your fault that you get overweight. Like if you're very dumb and don't understand that eating makes you fat and someone is spoon feeding you unhealthy food and you just eat automatically and you don't understand because you're too dumb, then I wouldn't say that it's your fault because you don't know any better. Being that dumb is like a bit of a disability. I know I've been there, but maybe I wasn't that dumb, but I didn't understand. Most people don't think like, oh, I'm eating to get fat. It's something that happens to where people get overweight, and there's also medications that make people gain weight. So it's different for everyone. Of course, a lot of people, I'd say majority of the people who get overweight, they get it from simply just eating too much. A lot of people love food and they just eat too much, and eating food outweighs, whatever consequence it has coming to it. But there's also a lot of cases where people can't really help it. But yeah, neither way, that's where I'm at right now. I'm like somewhat skinny fat and like trying my best to get in shape, especially now when I'm about to have kids and I want to be a good dad. It's very frustrating to be so limited physically, but still trying. Anyway, that's my take on how it's like to be overweight. Another thing that I didn't mention, when I was overweight, I was actually doing well physically. Like it's funny, when I was fat, everything was fine. When I got skinny and lost the weight, that's when shit hit the fan. Now I know that's not, it's not like related, because diseases and disabilities come, surprisingly they don't come from being healthy. You don't get sick from being healthy. It's just a funny coincidence that like when I was fat I was fine. When I was fit and skinny I was shit. So yeah, the typical curse. Anyway, that's my experience. Let me know what you all think. Also, if you like my content, if you like my videos, if you want to support the channel and my family, check out the video description. Everything helps. Share the video to someone if you want, or if you don't want, if you hate me, if you hate everything I just said, if you hate my guts, can leave a comment. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. See you all in the next one. Bye bye.